Hello everyone, my name is Simon from CramTheExam and welcome to another video where I walk you through another English exam question. In this video I'm going to have a look at the FCE First Use of English Part 7 question, which is the Part 7 Multiple Matching Reading question. This particular question you'll find on the excellent website flojo.co.uk. I can't say enough good things about this website. If you haven't checked it out already, please go ahead and do so now. There'll be a link to it in the video description, and there'll be a link to this video as well. Now, the Part 7 multiple matching question, we've done one already, so you should have some practice at this already. It's a difficult question in as far as there is lots and lots of information that you've got to deal with. I think when we had a look at this a few weeks ago, there were only 5 extracts. In this one, I think we've got, how many have we got? We've got 8 extracts, 8 mini extracts, which is a lot of information to deal with. And you've got 10 questions. So you've got 8 mini texts, 10 questions. You've only got about 15 minutes or so, or really you should be doing this in about 15-16 minutes. So how do you deal with all that information? Well, first of all, read the mini texts first. And as you're reading, highlight the main words that give you the main idea about the text. Now, you can only do this if you practice this. So you've got to do as many Part 7 multiple matching exercises as you can. But if we were to do it for this one, for example, with A, the idea of A is that it's, she says, I'm shy, I don't have the vocabulary, nobody else has this problem. So there are 3 words that you could highlight there, which might highlight the main idea behind this behind this text. For B, what's the idea? It's the idea here is rather the pronunciation. He went to the person, Fazlinda, went to Britain. People had difficulty understanding her, so she's got a problem with pronunciation, although she's got good grammar skills, evidently. For C, we've got a complaint, really, that the English teacher never corrects her, and that's that she should forget rules of grammar. So we could highlight perhaps this part here, this part here. For D, the problem here is one of accent. He really wants to work on the correct accent, and that he concentrates on his pronunciation and perhaps even plan to work in the UK. For E, a person working as an au pair in London feels that they should be correcting the people, she should be correcting the people that she's working with. So, would it be impolite of me to correct them, perhaps? Or working as an au pair in London, maybe her job might be important, so you could highlight that. For F, listening to the BBC World Service. So this is listening to the radio to improve listening. And indeed, it says this again. How do I make listening to the radio less difficult? For G, important issue here is that she's Paula is studying by herself. So self-study here is important. Maybe also that learning English at school would be too expensive. So that might be worth highlighting. And lastly, with H, this is once again a complaint that they're studying with, here's the sentence here, I'm studying full of people from my own country, so speaking English is difficult. So as you're reading through those texts, you're scanning through the information very, very quickly, you're getting the main idea, and you're highlighting the language which highlights those main ideas. And as I said, this is something that you only get with practice. So, having said all of that, you read through all of the text, then you get onto the questions. And then, as you're reading the questions, you should already be thinking, and as you're reading through the questions, it might be a good idea to start making some notes just by the question. Where did I read this? I saw it in G. Where did I read this? I saw it in A. Where did I read this? And so on. So, the notes you're making in the text is already helping you as you're reading through the questions. As always, we're looking for vocabulary links. This is the key thing here. We're looking for vocabulary links. So let's go find those vocabulary links and explain why the answers are the answers. For question number 1, hang on a second, let me find my arrow, there it is. Which person would appear not to have an English teacher? Straight away for G, we said this person's self-studying. So we've got the answer in half a second. And it's important here because would appear is important. So it's not that this person doesn't have an English teacher, because in a few of the texts, for example, the au pair, there's no mention of an English teacher there. But so we've got to look for language which suggests the person is learning English without the help of a teacher. And that's exactly what we get with G. I've been self-studying using the internet and books to improve. So that's why the answer is G. For 2, doesn't like studying with people from their own country. Remember, one of the articles was about criticism about people, about learning with people in the same, the people from the same country, I thought in the UK, and that was in H. So he says, I decided to go to the UK, so he's in the UK, but he's studying in a class with people from his own country, and he doesn't like it. And if we try to find the exact vocabulary links, it says here it's very difficult to do this. I'm worried that my speaking will not improve. The idea is that he doesn't like studying people with his own country, from his own country, or her own country, because it's Maria. Has a job in the UK. One person was talking about a job, and it was that au pair. I'm working as an au pair in London, which is why the answer is E. Enjoys keeping up with current affairs. Now, we didn't highlight this information, so we would have to go back into the texts to perhaps have a look at this. But if we remember, in F, the person says, what does the person say? Person says, here we go, at the end. I like listening to the news. I like listening to the news and knowing what's going on in the world. If you want to keep up with the news and you want to know what's going on in the world, that means that you try to keep up with current affairs. So if you're not familiar with that vocabulary link, current affairs and current news, make sure you're familiar with it now. And that's a nice expression for your speaking and writing as well. I like to keep up to date, or I like to keep up with current affairs. 5. Feels that the teacher isn't doing their job properly. Now, one of these articles was a criticism about the teacher and the fact that the teacher wasn't correcting them. And that was in C. My teacher never corrects my mistakes when I'm speaking. Isn't that her job? So, the clear criticism of her teacher, and that's exactly what we get in 5, which is why the answer is C. Uses English-speaking radio stations to practice English, straight back to the BBC World Service. My teacher suggested that I listen to the BBC World Service every day to improve my listening. Improving your listening is part of practicing your English. Had a shock when they visited Britain. What was this? In B. The answer is in B, so let's see if we can find this. And the shock related to one of the things that we highlighted. That is this. Last month I went to Britain to visit my relatives over there, and it was awful. People found my pronunciation difficult to follow, and I couldn't understand them either. What went wrong? So this shock is this idea of a nasty surprise. And that's, we can see that in the question, what went wrong? So here's the vocabulary link for 7. 8. Wants to avoid speaking in their own language. This goes back to the last one, H, and the criticism of everyone else in that person's class speaking in their L1 or native language. And if we can see the avoid speaking in their own language, let's see if we can find the exact vocabulary link. There we go. Although the teachers tell us we should only try to speak in English with each other, it is very difficult to do this. I am worried that my speaking will not improve. So the reason why she wants to avoid speaking in her own language. Wants to speak English like a native speaker for number 9. Here, this is, I think there was a couple of the texts that referred to pronunciation. But the answer we can find in D, and it says, and the reason why is because of the thing that we highlighted about jobs. I plan to work in the UK in the future, and nobody will take me seriously if my English pronunciation is anything short of excellent. So, in other words, that they want to speak as close to being a native speaker as possible. Feels that they are the only person with their difficulty. Straight back to A. One of the things we highlighted as we went through the text, nobody else in the group seems to have the same problem. In other words, I am the only one, which is a clear vocabulary link to number 10. And there we go. It is something you can get good at if you practice. So on this course, we're going to have a look at another 2, I think, part 7 questions. So you'll have the chance to do 4 in total, but if you have access to a course book, you'll find a lot more part 7 questions for you to practice on, and practice you must. And the ability to read quickly and scan for information will help you with all of the reading exercises for the FCE and indeed the future CAE paper as well. I hope you followed me as I was going through the explanations. If you have any questions or if you disagree with anything that I said, please leave a comment below and I will get back to you. If you are studying from one of the course books, one of the more popular course books, please visit my website CramTheExam.com. I might well be able to help you out a little bit more. And I'll see you again soon with another walkthrough video.